You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Classless Markwayne Mullin flattened over ugly World Cup comments based on an article by Tom Bocconi. Gloating is not policy. The state made the contest ugly. The source event is simple enough. After Iran's World Cup team was knocked out, Markwayne Mullin celebrated publicly, boasting that he was glad they were done and that visas had been pulled. The reporting point that matters is not the cheap shot itself. It is the machinery behind it: travel restrictions, denial of visas for support staff, a forced relocation of Iran's training base from Arizona to Mexico, and weeks of government harassment that turned a sporting appearance into a political punishment. Power did this, not chance. The people with actual power here were not the athletes and not the fan base. It was the Trump administration, acting through the Department of Homeland Security and its political appointees, that decided to make the team's preparation miserable. That is the center of gravity in this story. The administration chose to treat elite athletes like suspects, then pretended the result was merely a matter of sporting fate. Mullin's job was to launder cruelty. Mullin's gloating was not a harmless display of bad manners. It functioned as a public endorsement of the government's own harassment campaign. He recast a state-imposed obstacle course as if Iran simply lost on merit, while erasing the weeks of obstruction that preceded it. That is a familiar maneuver in ugly politics: commit the harm, then celebrate the victim's struggle as proof that the harm was justified. The real misdirection. The source is right to call this classless, but the larger problem is more political than etiquette. Mullin helped push the idea that Iran's team should be read purely as a proxy for the Iranian government, which is exactly the kind of flattening that lets American officials avoid accountability for their own conduct. When U.S. officials decide who can enter, where they can train, and how difficult they can make basic participation, they are not responding to the world. They are manufacturing the terms of humiliation and then pretending not to notice. Bad diplomacy, predictable damage. The most revealing line in the source is that this came while the U.S. is trying to negotiate an end to a war with Iran. If that is the strategic setting, then Mullin's smugness is not just childish. It is self-sabotage. The administration was trying to extract terms while also confirming the worst suspicions of the other side, that the United States is treacherous, punitive, and incapable of treating even a sporting delegation in good faith. That is how you hand hawks on the other side a clean propaganda gift. The pattern. This story is not about soccer. It is about how state power uses spectacle to rehearse contempt. The government creates the obstruction, the political class performs the cruelty, and the public is asked to confuse the whole thing for ordinary competition. That is the pattern. Institutional power narrows the field, then congratulates itself when the target stumbles. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article, with the automated voice of Amy. Thanks for listening.